Hello everyone, I hope that you're all well. I'm fine. It's a bright, beautiful, sunny day, so that's always good. Anyway, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Warren, and I want to thank you all for coming over to see my latest offering that I've got for you today. And that is episode 22 of England's most successful football club. And in this episode I've got for you today, I'm going to be looking at Bolton Wanderers Football Club. Now, I hope you enjoy today's show, and I hope that you find it interesting and informative. Now, just one thing I'd like to say before I get started about this episode is that when I was researching this episode, I came across a story which I found really, really upsetting, which is that of the Burnden Park disaster, which I'm ashamed to say, as a football fan, I had absolutely no knowledge of. But anyway, so for those of you who don't know, the Burnden Park disaster took place on the 9th of March 1946, when Bolton Wanderers played Stoke City at home in the FA Cup, when it is estimated that over 85,000 people tried to attend the game. Whether they actually did or not, I really don't know. But anyway, as a consequence of this and the overcrowding and crushing, 33 people lost their lives that day. And so therefore, I would like to dedicate this video to them. And I'd like to say that I hope that they rest in peace, and that my love and condolences go out to all their friends and families, and may God bless them all for eternity. And also, I just want to say that that in my opinion, no one should ever lose their life doing something they love. Like going to a football match, it's just obscene, absolutely obscene. Anyway, so, and then obviously today we're marking a year of the country first going into lockdown. So my thanks go out to all the NHS staff who've worked so hard to help protect us all and treat all those who've gone down with coronavirus. And also my condolences go out to all those people who have lost friends or relatives with this awful virus. And for those who have passed, I obviously hope that they rest in peace, and may they will live in our memories forever, and we will never ever forget them. So God bless them all. So there is also a video, there is a link to a video from the Bolton Wanderers YouTube channel about the Burnden Park disaster, which it's a documentary. It goes on for about 15 minutes and it talks about the disaster and what happened. So for any of you that are interested to find out more, I would encourage you to go and check it out, because it is very, very interesting and very moving. Anyway, so let's move on now. Everyone, so we've gone off and we've been on the Warren's Team Talk bus, and we've rocked up in Bolton, and we're going to go and see the Trotters, otherwise known as Bolton Wanderers. Now, Bolton, they managed to accumulate 3,450 fantastic super duper points, and they finished 19th in my Warren's Team Talk table. Now, Bolton Wanderers, they were formed as a team by the name of Christchurch Football Club in 1874, and it adopted its current name in 1877, and it became a founder member of the Football League in 1888. now, thinking about Bolton is, this is quite interesting. They spent more seasons than any other club in the top flight without winning the title, which was 73. So that's quite a long time, isn't it? I mean, that's a lot of seasons. So they've obviously been quite successful, but not to the level you'd really want. But anyway, so yeah, they're nicknamed the Trotters, the Wanderers, or the Whites. Now, I've never heard of them being called the Whites before, but I have heard of them being called the Trotters and the Wanderers. Bolton Wanderers are known as the Trotters because the word trotter is a local name, apparently, for a practical joker. And it also seems that pig's trotters were a local delicacy. And they've also have the nickname of the Wanderers and also the Whites, as I said earlier. So that's quite interesting, really. They became known as the Wanderers, mostly because in the early years of their formation, they moved around a lot, and sometimes they even played home games in nothing more than the open fields. However, I wasn't able to find anything which said it was a case of jumpers for coal coasters, was famously said on the Harry Enfield and the Harry Enfield show. Anyway, the club has played for most of its history at Burnden Park until they moved to the Reebok Stadium in 1997. The ground has changed its name on several occasions until it settled on the University of Bolton Stadium, apparently in 2018. Now, I didn't know that. I just thought it was called the Reebok Stadium, but there you go. What do I know? Anyway, so let's get started. In the 1891-92 season, Bolton Wanderers enjoyed their first success when they secured a third place finish in the Football League. And at this time, the English Football League only had one division, as the second division would not come into existence until the 1892-93 season. 2 years after this initial success, in the 1893-94 season, Bolton lost by 4-1 against Notts County in the FA Cup final at Everton's Goodison Park with a crowd of 37,000 people in attendance. Then in just another 2 years, in the 1895-96 season, the Trotters secured a fourth place finish in the First Division Tier 1 when they finished 8 points behind that season's league champions, Aston Villa. Hold on, guys. Sorry, yeah, my computer just froze then for a minute. Anyway, they then followed up this fourth place finish in the First Division by successfully being promoted, in the Second Division by being successfully being promoted from the Second Division Tier 2 in the 1899-1900 season when they finished second in the Second Division Tier 2. And 2 points behind, that's it. They've also finished that season 2 points behind the league Second Division champions, the Wednesday, who I'm not sure if you know, but they went on to be known as Sheffield Wednesday. Now, then 4 years later, in that 1903-1904 season, the Trotters would reach their second FA Cup final, but unfortunately for them, they lost 1-0 to Manchester City at Crystal Palace in London in front of a crowd of over 61,000 people. By the way, this Crystal Palace ground is not the ground where Crystal Palace Football Club currently play their home games, Sellers Park, but it was played at a ground which stood on the site of the current National Sports Centre in Crystal Palace. It's the athletic stadium that's there. So then the following season, in the 1904-1905 season, Bolton Wanderers again won promotion from the second division Tier 2 when they finished 2 points behind the champions for that year, Liverpool. Then 4 years after this, in the 1908-1909 season, the Trotters went on to win the second division Tier 2 to win promotion up to the first division Tier 1 when they finished the season 1 point ahead of second place Tottenham Hotspur and third place West Bromwich Albion. So that must have been really good for them to finally win a title. And then 2 years after this narrow title success, they went on to finish second in the second division Tier 2 in the 1910-1911 season, which also saw them win promotion to the first division Tier 1 when they finished 2 points ahead of Chelsea and 2 points behind West Bromwich Albion, who were the champions that year. And then following on from that, also that season, the Trotters enjoyed an unbeaten home league season. And in fact, they only dropped 2 points at home all season in their league campaign. The very next season, in the 1911-12 season, the Trotters secured a 4th place finish in the first division, Tier 1. And then 9 years after that, in the 1920-21 season, the club finished 3rd in the first division, Tier 1. Then in the 1922-23 season, Bolton Wanderers reached their 3rd FA Cup final, which was also the first time that the FA Cup final would ever be played at Wembley Stadium. Now, this cup final was one of the most historic cup finals in the history of the FA Cup, and it is known as the White Horse Final. The reason it's known as the White Horse Final is because of a white horse that famously came into the stadium and onto the pitch to try and restore order because of the chaotic scenes as the game started, because there was a vast number of people who tried to get into the game that day. And the crowd surged into the stadium, and it meant that many people ended up having to go on the pitch. And the actual attendance for the final far exceeded the official capacity. And the official attendance was an estimated 125,000, but I've seen reports of 200, 300,000 people. So you take guesses and take your pick, really. So it resulted, though, in spectators finding their way around the pitch and even onto the playing area itself. So mounted policemen, including one on a light-coloured white horse, which became the defining image of the day, had to be brought in to try and clear the crowds from the pitch so that the game could go ahead. Yeah, so it was quite a thing that day. And in the end, the game ended up starting 45 minutes late. The day itself, despite all of this chaos at the beginning, turned out to be a 3rd time lucky for the Trotters when they defeated West Ham United by 2-0 to win the FA Cup that year. And as you can see, there's a picture there with the White Horse trying to restore order on the pitch with all those crowds of people. And you can see they've swamped the goal and come forward in front of the goal even. I also discussed this cup final in episode 15 of England's Most Successful Football Club, where I looked at West Ham United, and I've included a link to this video in the description of this video, just down below, or you can find it in the England's Most Successful Football Club playlist. If you click on the tab at the homepage of the Warren's Team Talk YouTube channel, if you click on the playlist tab there, you'll be able to find the England's Most Successful Football Club playlist. And then down there, if you scroll down, you'll be able to find episode 15. But like I say, in the description, there is a link to it. So you can go back and check out what I said in that episode about it, because like I say, I did cover it in that episode when I was looking at West Ham United. Anyway, so the following season in 1923-24, the club finished 4th in the First Division Tier 1. And then in the next season, 24-25, they secured a 3rd place finish in the First Division when they finished 3 points, just 3 points behind the league champion that season, Huddersfield Town. And then the next season, in the 1925-26 season, they reached the FA Cup final again. And on this occasion, they beat Manchester City 1-0, again at Wembley Stadium, in front of a crowd of 91,447 to win the FA Cup. But on this occasion, gladly, the event was far less chaotic and more sedate than the previous time in 1923. So there weren't no pitch invasions and delayed kickoffs and things like that. So yeah, but Bolton, like I say, won the cup that day when they defeated Manchester City by 1-0. Anyway, so the year after this FA Cup success, they finished 4th in the First Division Tier 1, and then 7 years passed until they had any further success when they finished 3rd in the Second Division Tier 2 in the 1933-34 season, when they missed out on promotion to Preston North End, who beat the club to the final promotion spot by 1 point. The Trotters then made up for this disappointment of narrowly missing out on promotion the year before, when they secured a 2nd place finish in the Second Division Tier 2 and won promotion back up to the First Division Tier 1 in the 1934-35 season. There then followed an 18-year barren spell, which obviously included World War II, until the club enjoyed any further success. And they broke this drought when they returned to Wembley Stadium for the 1953 FA Cup final. But unfortunately for the Trotters, they missed out in one of the most famous FA Cup finals again in the history of the FA Cup, when on this occasion they lost by 4-3 to Stanley Matthews Blackpool in the famous Matthews Cup final at Wembley Stadium, in front of a crowd of 100,000 people, in a game where Bolton's Nat Lofthouse scored a hat-trick. Now, he was a bit of a goal monster, actually, Nat Lofthouse, but we'll see that as we go through this story. Anyway, but then 5 years later, in the 1957-58 season, the Trotters returned to Wembley Stadium again for the FA Cup final, when they came up against Manchester United, who had been decimated by the Munich air disaster 3 months prior to this FA Cup final. and Bolton won the game by 2-0 to win the FA Cup in front of a crowd of over 99,000 people. This game was notable by the fact that Nat Lofthouse scored both Bolton's goals in this match. The Trotters also followed up their success in the 1958 FA Cup final by successfully finishing fourth in the First Division Tier 1 in the 1958-59 season. And then following up from their FA Cup success the previous year, Bolton went on to win the 1958 FA Charity Shield by defeating Wolverhampton Wanderers by 4-1 at their home ground of Burnden Park in front of a crowd of 36,029. In a game which again Nat Lofthouse scored another brace. So as you can see, he was very prolific, this guy. Then 6 years later, in 1964-65, Bolton finished third in the Second Division Tier 2, and they missed out on promotion by 6 points to Northampton Town. After another 8 years passed until the Trotters won the Third Division Tier 3 title and won promotion back up to the Second Division Tier 2 in the 1972-73 season. Then 3 years later, in the 75-76 season, the Trotters went on to finish fourth in the Second Division Tier 2, and then the next year, in the 1976-77 season, they repeated the feat of finishing fourth in the Second Division Tier 2, and frustratingly for the Trotters, they missed out on the promotion places by just 1 point to West Bromwich Albion and then to Nottingham Forest. The following season, in 1977-78, they put these 2 years of disappointment behind them when they won the Second Division Tier 2 title and were promoted back to the First Division Tier 1. And then the Trotters would have to wait another 8 years before they had any further success, when in the 1985-86 season, they reached their first ever EFL Trophy final, but sadly for them, they lost 3-0 to Bristol City at Wembley Stadium in front of a crowd of over 54,000 people. Then 2 years after this defeat to Bristol City in the EFL Trophy, they were promoted out of the bottom tier of English professional football, the Fourth Division, Tier 4, when they secured a third place finish in the 1987-88 season. And after this, the very next season in 1988-89, the Trotters returned to Wembley Stadium for their second EFL Trophy final, but on this occasion they ran out comfortable winners by 4-1 against Torquay United. And that game was played in front of a crowd of over 46,000 people. And then 2 years after this success, in the 1990-91 season, Bolton secured a fourth place finish in the Third Division Tier 3, but they missed out on promotion when they lost 1-0 to Tranmere Rovers in the playoff final. And then also in the 1992-93 season, the Trotters made up for this disappointment when they won automatic promotion by finishing second in the second division, Tier 3, when they edged out Port Vale to take the final promotion point by 1 point. Now, that must have gone down, I would imagine, really well with the Stoke City fans, because they were champions that year, and Port Vale, and I know that Port Vale and Stoke have got a really fierce rivalry. So the fact that Bolton edged them out of the final promotion place, I imagine would have gone down really well with the Stoke fans. Then 2 years, if we move 2 years on now to the 1994-95 season, we can see that they were again promoted. We saw them return to the first tier of English football when they finished third in the first division, Tier 2, and they won promotion up to the Premier League. When they managed to do that by, like I say, finishing third in the first division, Tier 2, and also defeating Bolton Wanderers by 4-3 in the playoff final. Also this season, the Trotters lost by 2-1 to Liverpool in the EFL Cup final, played at Wembley Stadium in front of a crowd of over 75,000 people. And then a year on from that, in the 1996-97 season, Bolton would secure their first division Tier 2 title by a massive 18 points margin of victory over Barnsley to get promoted back up to the FA Premier League Tier 1. And then 4 years later, in the 2000-2001 season, Bolton managed to secure a third place finish in the first division and were promoted through the playoffs when they defeated Preston North End 3-0 in the playoff final. And then after this promotion to the FA Premier League in the 2000-2001 season, the Trotters lost 2-1 to Middlesbrough in the EFL Cup final at Wembley Stadium in a game which was attended by over 72,000 people in the 2003-2004 season. Then in the 2004-2005 season, the Trotters finished 6th in the FA Premier League Tier 1, and as a consequence of this 6th place finish, they qualified for the UEFA Cup the following season. In the 2005-2006 season, when they reached the round of 32, where they were knocked out eventually by Marseille 2-1 on aggregate. Then, as you can see, that year in the first round, they accounted for a team from Bulgaria called Lokomotiv Plovdiv 4-2 on aggregate. And then they made it through to the group stage where they drew 1-1 with Sevilla of Spain. They defeated Zenit St. Petersburg 1-0. Drew 1-1 with Besiktas of Turkey 1-1. And then Vitória de Guimarães, I hope I've got that right. Apologies to any Portuguese people who might be watching this from my mispronunciation. But yeah, they drew with that team by one goal each. And then in the round of 32, like I say, they lost 2-1 on aggregate. The first game ending in a 0-0 draw, and the second leg they lost by 2-1. And then 2 years later, in the 2006-2007 season, the Trotters finished 7th in the FA Premier League Tier 1, and this qualified them for the following season's 2007-2008 UEFA Cup, where they went one better than the previous outing in Europe, when they reached the last 16 before finally being knocked out by Sporting Lisbon. So that year, they managed to get into the group stage, and in the group stage they had a very respectable 2-2 draw with German side and European giants Bayern Munich, and then they also drew 1-1 with Portuguese side Braga. Disappointingly, I guess they drew 1-1 with Greek side Aris, and then defeated Serbian side Red Star Belgrade 1-0, and ended up finishing third in their group, which qualified them for the round of 32, where they defeated Atletico Madrid 1-0 on aggregate, and then in the round of 16 they lost 2-1 on aggregate to Sporting Lisbon. And then moving on from that, sadly the Trotters went into a decline, largely because of the severe financial crisis that the club was facing, and this actually nearly ended up with the club being wound up and facing extinction, but they ended up in the third tier of English football. However, thankfully, in the 2016-17 season, they finished second in League One, Tier 3, and were promoted back to the Championship, Tier 2. And finally, a fan by the name of Chris Manning, with at @CManning99, put together what he thought was the greatest Bolton Wanderers all-time 11, which was set up in a traditional 4-4-2 formation, and the lineup was as follows. Jussi Jeskalainen was the goalie, and in defence they had Gudni Bergson, and they had Vincent Candela, Gary Cahill, and Ivan Campo. And then going to the midfield, they had David Lee, JJ Okocha, and they had Per Franson and Yuri Djorkiev, and then up front they're Kevin Davis and Nicholas Anelka. So what do you think about that team? Do you agree with it, or would you think there should be other players in there that he's not mentioned? If you've got a view about that, please make sure you leave it in the comments section down below of the YouTube video, and also please make sure that if you've got an all-time Bolton 11 that you'd like to share, please also put that in the comment section of the video as well, because I'll be really interested to see what teams you all come up with for this great club. Anyway, thanks very much, and thanks for watching this episode of Warren's Team Talk, England's most successful club. Well, everyone, that's it for today's show. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming to watch the show. Like I say, I hope you really, really enjoyed it. Anyway, please remember, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. This will help me out greatly and ensure that you don't miss any future shows that I put out for you. The last thing I want to happen is for you to miss out a show that you could potentially really, really enjoy, because that would be pretty heartbreaking, really. Anyway, you can also click on the notification bell, which will make sure that you get told by YouTube as soon as I do upload a video, as long as obviously you've got your notifications switched on. So make sure you do that, because that will make sure that you do receive any notifications they send out. Also, another big help for me will be if you could click on the like button for the video, and also if you can pass it on to anyone who you think might find it interesting. And you can make this easier for yourselves by using the share button on the YouTube video. Also, remember, all of this is free to you. You don't have to pay for it, and it only takes a second to click on the like button, the share button, or the subscribe button, or the notification bell. Anyway, that's enough for today of all my groveling and shameless marketing. So please, 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 more important than any of that stuff that I've just said, is please look after yourselves, and remember to keep talking and look after each other. Anyway, I'll be back again on Saturday with another video for you, another show for you. And so I'll see you all then. Anyway, until then, you take care, please. And please, please remember to keep talking. I love you guys. Take care. Thank you. And remember to watch the video about Bolton Wanderers. And I just want to say one more time, rest in peace for all those poor 33 people who died in that awful disaster. God bless them all. Thank you. Bye.